rather than asking, does that sound good to you? What day of the week would work best? Tomorrow or Friday, whatever that day is. And then now they're thinking Thursday or Friday instead of yes or no.
In today's podcast, we are going to be discussing the secrets of how to double the conversion rate of your local business. Today, we are joined with Cody. He is the master of closing local leads and has closed thousands of leads on behalf of local businesses. Hello, and welcome to the Local Business Legends podcast. In this podcast, we interview experts and successful local business owners in the home service industry space. I'm your host. My name is Jordan Richards. I have generated millions of dollars of additional revenue for local home service businesses through the use of digital marketing. And like I said, today we have on our podcast a special guest, Cody. He is the owner of RevHike. Closing leads is his whole game. So Cody, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit more about who you are? And then my second question will be, how did you get into this business?
Yeah, well, I'll jump right into that. So, again, my name's Cody. I have about 15 years of green industry experience, having ran a lawn care business out in kind of near the Virginia Beach area, if you're familiar with that area, Jordan. But got started like pretty much everybody else. Just kind of had some savings from summer work that I was doing in the past as like a lifeguard. Bought my first truck. It was an old 1992 F-150, had 28,000 miles on it. It was like a 20-year-old truck at the time. And it was just a nice truck. And I got, I borrowed my father's equipment, I got a push mower. 6 months into it, the wheel fell off. And I'm like, all right, I got to take this serious and get me an actual commercial mower. So that's kind of how I got into the industry, just in a quick nutshell. A couple of years into it, I realized the importance of good customer service and making sure that client's taken care of, not only with the yards that we're maintaining, but just the customer service kind of aspect of it. And one of the things that we realized is like once I started prioritizing answering the phones, that was when I was able to grow my business to the next level. About year four, I actually started hiring more people to help kind of grow the business. And then by year five, we had about three crews, primarily residential. I had a few commercial properties trickled in there, but my bread and butter was, the in and out jobs that are under like 16,000 square feet. And we were just knocking them out and just really focused on building a highly like dense route for our mowing crews. So here I am today, about 15 years later. And, what I do now is really quite similar to what I started doing when I was growing my business. It's answering phones. We actually work with a lot of different green industry businesses. Reason being, it's just because I have that experience. So I know like the pain points, to know the language. So we actually help those companies answer their phones, and we only charge when we actually close a job. So it's pretty neat. But
Cool.
yeah, that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Cool. I love that. So
Yeah.
so you had your own business, providing the home service industry, the yard care and stuff like that. Um, and then you took the best part, one of the things that you felt was really important about that business, and then you started selling that to others in a new business. I love that. You said you start prioritizing answering the phone. What did your business look like before you had like your system dialed in? And what did your business look like after you had the whole answering the phone thing dialed in?
The first thing that I did was I got me a nice headset where I could have, Bluetooth speaker to my phone. I could hear whenever a phone call came in. Quickly realized that, you know, I needed to be able to prioritize that even more. So I did that for like the first year or two, just kind of answering them on my own. But I still wasn't getting to every call because when you're in the middle of a job, you don't really have time to slow down. You've got 15 plus jobs you're doing, especially if you're by yourself. It's a real time constraint to just stop what you're doing. And half the time, it's probably a sales guy trying to sell you marketing or whatever it is. And you just don't have time to like stop your day just to answer. It's probably not even like a legitimate call anyway. So I actually ended up hiring like a part-time stay-at-home mom to help kind of fill in the gaps where I couldn't pick up the phone in time, and that seemed to work pretty well. She was just kind of a remote working where she lived, and just was able to help out in that. And I think that really helped out a lot.
Cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, having, you know, answering every phone call is so important, right? So, like I said, I generate leads for local companies through SEO, Google Ads, digital marketing, website stuff, Facebook ads, and going off on a tangent here, I had two clients who had two very similar businesses, and they were in neighboring states, right? So similar weather, similar business model. Everything was basically identical between these two businesses. And I was able to generate the same amount of leads for both businesses. But for some reason, one of the businesses was like growing super fast and the other business was like shrinking, right? And one business owner was like, "Oh my gosh, like this is awesome! It's better than it's ever been." And then the other business was like, "Jordan, like we're dying here. Like what's going on?" And like it was so odd because, like I said, I generated the same amount of leads at the same cost per lead, and so I did a deep dive with these two clients, and I figured out that one of the clients had a 40% close rate, and one of the clients had a 10% close rate, right? So both of them spent the exact same on marketing. Both of them got the exact same amount of leads from marketing, but one guy was growing 4 times faster than the other guys, and the only difference was the fact that one guy had 40% close rate, one guy had 10% close rate. That means the other guy's money went 4 times further. And that was the difference of hundreds of thousands of dollars between these two companies. And that was the difference of this one feeling like he's going out of business and this one, feeling on top of the world. And so I can definitely, um, you know, when I deep dived into why their close rate's so different, it's exactly like what you were saying, Cody, where, um, close rate is everything. Like you got to be answering those phone calls because, yes, there are a lot of spam calls mixed in there. Like I can't tell you how many times my phone rings a day with a spam call or a call from this or that, but not answering phone calls from leads, that's just not an option, right? If you're just too busy to answer the phone and hang up on the spammers and take care of your actual clients, you're too busy to grow and you'll become more like the 10% close rate guy versus the 40%. So yeah, I love that. Yeah. Answering the phones is so,
You,
so
yeah,
critical.
you brought up a good point the other day when we were talking. I think it was last week. You said that you had to start generating like 10 times the amount of leads for these companies that are struggling to convert because in order to grow what they're trying to get to, if they're only converting 10%, other companies can 40 or 50%. It's like now you have to throw more marketing dollars just to get the same result. So, I always say the cheapest leads are the ones you're already getting. So why not just plug the holes in your sales funnel and try to increase your close rate to kind of maximize your ad spend? With people like yourself that are running ads for companies spending tens of thousands of dollars, even, that just seems to me like the no brainer way to like, you know, get the most maximum result.
Yeah. I love that. I say that one more time. The cheapest lead. I love that.
Cheapest leads are the ones you're already getting, and people don't realize. They always think I just need to get more leads, or my leads suck. Like, come on, Jordan, what's going on? Everyone I try to close. Okay, well, how soon did you follow up with them? Well, I returned their call the next day.
Yeah.
you so like a guy that needs his lawn mowed probably needed it mowed a couple of days ago because his last lawn guy bailed on him. So they're not going to wait around for you to number one return your call, number two, wait for that quote. So what we do with RevHike is we actually answer those calls that come in. So it could be like an overflow example, like maybe you have it ring 3 times to your team. You don't pick the phone up, we answer it as like a backup. And then we're actually trained to close those jobs over the phone on the spot. So we're actually measuring the lead's property, getting the lawn size, getting a price in their hand over the phone, and seeing where the next steps are from there. Do we need to do some follow-ups later? After they talk with the spouse, can we just go ahead and get a credit card on file now? And 80% of the time, if you're the fastest to get that quote, you're going to win majority of that business. So that's always kind of what I go to.
I love that. What
Yeah.
what are some tips and tricks that you train your team answers phones for people? I'm assuming they just don't say, "Hi, what do you want?" So on behalf, like, so what are some tips and tricks you can give people of, how to answer the phone, how to, how do you get the person from interested to credit card on file in a single phone call, skipping the whole "let me talk to my spouse" thing if necessary.
Most of the calls we get are people that are coming over from a bad experience. Could be a company that just let the ball down. Maybe they started out great, and then over time they hired the wrong people, and they just stopped caring or whatever. And quality assurance. So I always try to find out, what's your current situation? Do you have a company now that's maintaining it? Or are you doing it yourself? So tell me more about what's going on. And a lot of times they're going to say, "Oh, my company I use now, we need to just find somebody else." Okay, tell me about that. What's going on? Well, the guy's just not showing up. It's 3 weeks since he's last came out. I've tried calling him. I haven't heard from him. Okay, so it sounds like the one's getting a little out of control. Yep. We're afraid we might get a notice on the door, a fine from the city or whatever. Okay, so it sounds like you want to get this done like pronto. Like that's the goal here. Yeah. So okay, great. So what we do is makes continue with my pitch is we have an assigned day of the week. I'm kind of going over what the company has, right? Where we come out this day, we send you reminders, text, email, let you know where we're at in the process, and then when we show up, we're going to let what we did. Maybe it's a turf care treatment that we applied. We want to know. We want the customer to know what we did. We're going to leave all that information laid out. Does that sound like what you're looking for? Yeah, of course. Great. All right, so I've got your property measurements here. This is the price. This is what's all included. Um, what day of the week can we get started? Thursday or Friday? So this is an assumed close. So instead of rather than asking, does that sound good to you? What day of the week would work best? Tomorrow or Friday, whatever that day is. And then now they're thinking Thursday or Friday instead of yes or no.
I love that.
So that's kind of like a glimpse of what we do. There's always objections you're going to get. They're going to be like, well, hold up. I need to think about this. Like, I need to talk to my spouse. Okay, no problem. Perfectly understand. When in the next day or two do you think you could get back with me? Right? They're going to say, oh, I could probably talk to the spouse this evening.
Hmm.
Okay. So, one quick question before I let you go. When you do talk to the spouse, what do you think they'll have questions about? This is where you get the real objection. It's not that they want to think about it. It's probably because the price is too high. They just don't want to tell you your price is too high because they don't want to be rude or whatever, right?
Hmm.
So I know I'm talking a lot here, just kind of giving you my
Oh,
whole
this is
whole
gold. Keep going.
whole thing. So okay, tell me how you arrived at, like, what do you feel like the price is too high? Well, we've got a company now, like I said, and they're charging us $40 a week. Your price is a little bit more than what we were anticipating. Sounds like you've got a great deal. So why are you calling us? And
Mm,
then they're gonna go back to, well, they just haven't showed up. They're not okay. So you're gonna continue paying this company $40 a week for them to not even show up, you know, or does it make more sense to just hire us? We'll take care of it. Peace of mind, your lawn's gonna get mowed, you're not gonna get fined. Realistically, you tell me what's more expensive, you know, and you kind of get them into that framework, thinking like instead of price based thinking, they're thinking about solutions and how we can solve their problem.
I love that. Yeah,
Yeah. So
that's gold. Thank you.
yeah, a little
It,
bit of YouTube University goes a long way.
there you
How to
go.
sell.
Yeah, no, I love that.
Yeah.
We were actually on the podcast on last podcast post. We were talking with a guy named Gabe, and Gabe and I were discussing the difference of who when somebody answers whoever answers the phone, are they a cashier or are they a salesman? It's kind of like how we phrased it. A cashier is somebody who just takes orders, right?
Yeah.
They're, if I walk up to, McDonald's, I walk up to the cashier, they're like, "Hey, what do you want?" Right? And I'm like, "Okay, I want a burger, this and that." Right? That person's just designed, that whole person's mentality is just take what I want, the easy sell, that's it, right? Versus the salesman approach, which you just described, getting a lot more into it, having a conversation, treating them, finding their needs, and stuff like that. So I love that. Definitely, and I'm sure like the difference of answering the phone between the two ways, that also contributed to the 40% close rate to 10% close rate. And like I said, I can't just iterate enough the difference of 10% to 40% close rate. Like, let's say you make, 500 bucks per client. You get 100 clients, and the difference, like I said, I can't iterate enough. Like, thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars is the difference between the close rate, and the close rate all comes down to how you answer the phone, how quick you answer the phone, stuff like that. I actually saw a study about a month ago. Gosh dang, I should have saved it. And hopefully I don't butcher it. But long story short, a company did a very extensive um, research uh, test or program or something like that,
Yeah.
where they tracked phone answering speed. They had a graph. The x-axis was phone answering speed, and then the y-axis was close rate percentage, right? And they're the person describing the study was like, okay, who thinks it's okay to answer the phone within five, or get back to like the website form leads within 5 hours, right? And a bunch of people raised their hands, like, okay, who thinks it's okay to get back to the website form leads in 24 hours? Some people raised their. What about 1 hour, right? A lot of people raised their hand. What about 30 minutes, right? And it came down to, and they pulled up the graph. It was, if you don't get to your website forms within like 10 minutes or less, the conversion rate goes from like 50s, 60s to like sub 20s, right? So if you get a website form request from your website, and if you don't answer that lead, if you don't get back to that person, if you don't call that person, text, email, you probably want to call them, right? Because calling them is the most urgent way of getting a hold of them, and that will really stop them from shopping your competitors. If you don't get in contact with that person within 10 minutes, you know, the chances of you closing that person are cut in half almost instantly. And so that's why it's so important to answer every phone call. And that's why it's so important to get back to every website request within, minutes. So I love that.
I
Cool.
agree
Yeah,
100%.
a lot of great stuff. So Cody, tell me. So your company does like the closes leads for people, and as a lead generation company, I can definitely appreciate. I love and appreciate um, my clients who have a system in place, that they're just really good at closing leads. They have a dedicated phone answer, or my clients who use a service like yours. As a lead generation company, I can definitely appreciate, the those clients. How, from your perspective, how how does your business mix with like the lead generation side of things? And how important is it that people, you know, not only close the leads they get, but actually have a steady flow of leads?
I think it's huge. I mean, we're again commission based, so we make money when we actually make sales and get results. So it's definitely my priority to work with someone like you, where I know, hey, I've got companies that their leads are spilling in. It helps us out, but um, yeah, I think it's huge. It's fuel on the a fire, I guess, is what you can say. If you don't have a steady lead flow, then that's the lifeblood of your business. It's what you can actually sell. So I think that's very paramount to the success of that business for sure.
Cool. But besides, website, SEO, Google Ads, Facebook leads, what are some of the other lead sources you hear are coming in from your clients?
Referrals, and just people that are seeing like reviews online. They're just the natural things you would think about, with a business that's word of mouth. If you can systematize that, then that's another avenue. I'd rather pay a customer of mine $50 for a lead that they generate a sale for versus paying Google all this money. Well, it's great. There's a good ROI on it, but I just think that's a missed opportunity. A lot of people just rely on, oh, they'll get back with me. But if you're not proactive and making it easy for them to refer you, that's one thing that I would look at to generate more leads with. And then that reviews thing on Google. Nowadays, everybody is online searching for who's the best company in the area that they can call. Because if they don't have a referral of somebody, that's the second place they're going to look is who's out there that's reputable.
I love that. Yeah,
Yeah,
the referral system's huge. And Google even Google agrees. I went to a SEO gurus conference thing last week, and they were discussing how big of a push um, Google was putting towards the Google reviews on the how it affects the overall SEO of a company.
mm,
Um, I saw that, and you don't want, like I said, let me be very clear here for the listener. You don't want fake reviews, right? Google's cracking down on that pretty hard, and you don't want just one day a year where you get like 50 reviews from your family reunion.
yeah,
That also kind of gets frowned upon about from Google. Google wants to see a steady flow of leads, right? And that's what we help out our clients with. And some tips for people, really utilize the QR code. You can go online and just Google how to make a QR code and turn your Google review link into a QR code and use that everywhere, right?
yeah,
That's one of the strategies we use to help our clients get more Google reviews, is really make it as easy as possible
hmm,
for them to leave a review. Um, and like I said, every week you want at least one review a week, right? That Google loves to see that from businesses, is steady flow of leads. If you can automate it, that's even better. But yeah, exactly like you said, Cody, the um, people nowadays, they're turned off by like spammy ads and stuff like that. A
yeah,
referral is the easiest lead to close, and if companies have referral systems in place, that's awesome. But if like you said, if somebody can't find, um, if somebody doesn't have a company they're referred to, they're gonna look on Google and see who Google refers. It's the little things like asking for reviews, right? There's no magic bullet. Everyone's looking for the magic bullet nowadays.
mm,
Of you do one little thing and everything's solved. Your business is overloaded, and you're closing 100% of people. You're getting 1 million leads per day. But it's there's no magic bullet. It's really just the little things, right? Like it's the have solid SEO, right? Have a solid website that actually has really good call to actions and those things. Have a solid system for when somebody calls in, they're getting a hold of a salesman, not a cashier. Follow up with people, right? Ask for the reviews, ask for a referral. It's a combination of the bunch of little things is what makes all the difference, right? Every client I work with that is successful makes, over $1 million. One thing they all have in common is they're doing a mixture of a bunch of little things, right? If any company relied just on their SEO, they wouldn't do good, right? But when you rely on your SEO, your Google ads, your referral program, and like I said, everything I said before, those are the things that really, grow the business. Those are the marks of a healthy business. So, um, love it. So, yeah, thank you so much, Cody. Any last tips before we start the closeout for the listeners?
pick up your phones. That's the main takeaway I think from today. Just if you don't have something in place, if you're busy, make sure that's a priority. I think going in 20, for the rest of the year, and I think you're gonna definitely see an increase in business without even having to dump more money in ads. Because again, it's the cheapest lead is the ones you're already getting. So yeah, if you wanted to learn more, you're probably gonna say, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
re-
Yeah,
re-
if people who aren't answering the phone, yeah, like Cody said, everyone please start answering the phone every single call within like 3 rings. Period. Get back to your phones. For those listeners who just kind of could use a company to answer the phones for them, how can they get a hold of you?
yeah, I mean, it's revhike.com. and then you can book a call with me. All of the pricing and all that is fully transparent up there on the website. You can check that out. Again, we're commission based, so if there is a need, you only pay us when we make you increase your sales. But anyway, that's uh, one way you can get a hold of me. Also, I'm on Instagram, Facebook too. If you just search my name, Cody Stickle, I'll be there too. If you want to send me a message there.
Cool. Love it.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, Cody. And if you're a local business owner looking to grow and get more leads through digital marketing, you can give us a call. I would love to help out. I also, just like Cody, offer free strategy sessions for people where we can do a deep dive into, what lead sources you have. You can schedule a Zoom with me or my team, or give us a follow on our podcast at localbusinesslegends.org. And for more content like this, where we talk about local businesses and how those grow. Thank you so much, Cody, for joining us on the podcast today. I think a lot of listeners can really take away some golden nuggets about how important the close rate is and how to improve upon it, to increase their profit margins, their revenue, all the above. So thank you so much again, and hope to have you back on the show real soon. Thank you.
definitely appreciate it.